Hey everybody, this is Dave Blair, and I want to share some of my thoughts about the upcoming E3. Today is June 5th of 2021, and Microsoft is getting ready to do their presentation for E3 on June 13th. So I'm going to pick this car. It's an all-wheel drive car, and it also has a manual transmission, so I thought I'd drive this one around so I could use my clutch, and we'll talk about some of the upcoming things that Microsoft is doing with Xbox and Sony is doing with PlayStation, a little bit of the history, and some of my thoughts about mainly Forza Motorsport and Gran Turismo 7. So let's jump in here, and I'll also touch on PC gaming and just some of my thoughts going forward. Okay, so Microsoft and Xbox, when they came out with the Series console, they made that console backwards compatible all the way back to a lot of the original Xbox games and the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One era. So, they had a strong focus on backwards compatibility. They've also got a focus on Game Pass, which if you go back and watch some of my older E3 predictions, I predicted that Microsoft would do that because they didn't really have the install base to compete with Sony, and that is why they brought their games to the PC. Oh, I forgot we're in England. I got to drive on this side of the road. But anyway, so yeah, I predicted that long before it happened. You can go back and watch those videos. But anyway, and you can see what I was right on and what I was wrong on. I kind of thought that they were going to bring Steam to the Xbox, which I guess there's still a way to do that with a workaround. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. The point is that Microsoft had come out and said that they were going to support backwards compatibility, and they put a lot of effort into it. And then Sony said that they were, they believed in generations and that they were making games specifically for the PlayStation 5. Well, they've gone back on that now. The latest news is that most of the games that are coming out, namely the new God of War game and the Horizon Forbidden West game, is coming to the PlayStation 4 also. And so it's got a lot of people that bought into the PlayStation 5 a little upset. But anyway, that's where we're at right now. But it's kind of predictable because, Sony has 110 or 115 million people with a PlayStation 4. And again, it's all about the player base, which is, let's go off-road here, which is why they are wanting to sell games to that 115 or million subscriber base that they have already with the PlayStation 4. So, and again, it's why Microsoft has been pushing the Game Pass. They're trying to sign people up to pay a monthly fee, and they don't really care how many games you play. That's the kind of Microsoft strategy. Is like they're just going to give you all these games and let you pay them $15 a month or $10 a month or whatever it is. They want subscribers. So anyway, yeah, Microsoft is getting ready to do their conference. Sony is skipping the E3 this year, but they'll probably have something after, which is what they normally do. Sony normally has their E3 conference after Microsoft. Microsoft is usually gone first, so Sony can always react to whatever Microsoft does. But anyway, it's funny to think that Microsoft is the underdog, even though, as a company, they are much larger and have a lot more money than Sony does. And I believe Sony's really hurting right now. I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but if you look at their CEOs that have, disappeared in the last 5 years, they've been, I think they've had like 3 changes or something. But anyway, I think the guy's name is Jack Ryan that's heading it up right now. And he's the one that came out and said, we believe in generations. Well, they're walking that back. So that's where we're at now. Now let's talk about Xbox and their E3 conference. So the big rumors right now is that they're going to be coming out with a new Forza Horizon 5 set in Mexico. And just like I said with the Forza Motorsport, that it wouldn't be called Forza Motorsport 8, I don't think that this next one will be called Forza Horizon 5. I think they'll call it Forza Horizon Mexico if that's where it ends up being. And, I think that a lot of people are trying to get away from numbering their games. Again, you have Horizon Forbidden West, it would really be Horizon 2, but anyway, so that's kind of where we're at. And Microsoft, with the Forza thing, I think is going to be huge, because right now the rumors, or what has been said by a lot of the higher ups at Microsoft, is that they're really focusing on the physics, and that Forza Motorsport will not be backwards compatible, because the real weakness of the last Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 was their lack of processing power, and that is what's holding things back. So do I want to go this way? I don't know where I'm going. Anyway, so we're in a drift zone. Yeah, so the processors are what's really holding things back. And
you have arrived at your destination.
What they're saying about the next Forza Motorsport is that it's going from having one contact point of tires. I think they said, so the physics were based on one contact patch of the tire, and they're now moving to an 8 contact patch of the tire. So it's going to be a lot more heavier on the physics. They want to basically increase. Let's go straight. They want to increase the physics, and they can't do that on the Xbox One, if you guys are following what I'm saying. Now, Sony just came out and said Gran Turismo 7 will now be backwards compatible, which means they're going to put it on the PlayStation 4. Well, I can't believe that they're really happy about that, because they've been working on this Grand Theft Auto. They've been working on Gran Turismo 7 for a while now, and I think, they wanted to put it on the PlayStation 5, but they've come out and said we have too much user base on the PlayStation 4 not to release these games, Horizon and God of War and Gran Turismo 7 to be exact, and that they've kind of come out and said these have to be backwards compatible now. So Gran Turismo 7 is really going to be hurt by that, because again, they cannot push those processors any more than they are, I don't think. I mean, they might have a little tricks up their sleeve, but it's not looking good for Gran Turismo 7 in my opinion. Whereas the next Forza Motorsport is looking good, because it's just going to be out on the Xbox series of consoles, which the Series S and the X both have the same processor. So while you may have to limit the graphics on the S, which is fine, it's the processing that's the bottleneck on those things when we're talking about the sim racing game. And this is really going to be huge. This is going to have major implications going forward, especially with eSport, because Microsoft has seen what Gran Turismo Sport has done, and they want in on that. That's why they've held back with the Forza Motorsport, and they're going to really be pushing. Well, I had to downshift to get out of there. They're really going to be pushing the eSport, I think, with this next Forza Motorsport. And while Gran Turismo 7 was going to do that, it would have been the natural progression from Gran Turismo Sport into Gran Turismo 7. And again, they're looking at putting the Gran Turismo Sport into the Olympics as an event. But anyway, so yeah, I think Sony's really going to be hurt. But they're actually on their back feet right now, trying to combat the move that Microsoft did with the Game Pass, because Game Pass has really taken off. They've got a lot of subscribers, they've got a lot of good games, and Microsoft has bought a lot of companies. They're going to have some really great games coming forward. You're going to have every genre covered by Microsoft and Xbox. They're going to have a simulation racer in Forza Motorsport. They're going to have a casual arcade racer in Forza Horizon. They're going to have the shooter in Crossfire X that I think is going to take aim at Call of Duty type. And they also have the Bethesda and the Starfield's coming out, and that's going to be their role-playing game. But they have several role-playing games. But I expect them to announce maybe at this E3. I don't see how they don't go after Grand Theft Auto. That's why I kind of said Grand Theft Auto before, because I was thinking Grand Theft Auto. I think with the simulation power that the new consoles have, and the fact that they're also releasing on PC, that they're really going to go after all the big games, all your big games, like, they already have Minecraft, but they're going to go after Battle Royale games. I don't think it's going to be with Crossfire X, but it might be. And they're also going to go after chickens. They're also going to go after I would say Grand Theft Auto. If they can come up with an open world, and again, I think that, I don't know if Forza, let me just clarify this. I don't believe that Forza Horizon 5, the one that's set in Mexico, I don't know if you're going to be able to get out of your car, but I think maybe you will. I think they'll have more like, if you guys ever tried Test Drive Unlimited, where you could buy houses. You can already buy houses in this game, but you can't get out. But the next one, I think, because they added all this character customization in this one and Forza Motorsport 7. But let's just talk about Horizon right now. I believe you're going to be able to get out of your car and possibly walk around your house, maybe even furnish it, because they kind of give you so much money in this game. And while there's a lot of cars to buy, I think they're going to look at possibly allowing you to buy stuff so you can furnish your house too. But we'll see what they do. I think it's coming, and again, these machines are going to have the capability. So I don't know. I think that's where they're going. And again, I've said in Forza Motorsport, I think you're going to be able to get out of your car in that one also and walk around the garage. So we've kind of covered the Forza stuff and the Gran Turismo stuff. Again, I think Gran Turismo 7 is really going to be hurt by Sony's decision to include PlayStation 4, and I think that Forza is really going to be helped with Microsoft's decision. To make it only available, or to be a title just for the next or for the Series X and S, not backwards compatible for the next Motorsport. And again, they've got their eye on the Olympic thing, the esports thing, and they're going to really, I think they're going to blow a lot of people away with with what they're going to do with the next Forza Motorsport. But that's just my opinion. Okay, so the next thing, let's talk about, so right now, all the rage is frame rate, okay? Everyone is, like last generation, it was getting to 4K. Can these consoles do 4K? Well, the new ones can. They've proven they can. And the next big thing now is frame rate. Everyone wants, higher than 30 frames per second, which was the Xbox One era and the PlayStation 3 era. But, these new ones can do 4K 60, and, Microsoft can also do the 1440p or 2K at 120 frames per second, which, a lot of people prefer the higher frame rate, especially if you have a monitor that can run it. And as I'm speaking now, they're just coming out with monitors now that support HDMI at 2.1, which is what you need for the higher frame rate. So it's kind of a big deal. But okay, so let's talk about graphics here real quick. So we're already at 4K. We can, push 4K 60. You can push 2K at 120 on these consoles. You have PCs that can do 4K 120. so everything is good there. But the other thing that I think a lot of people forget about or don't think about is this whole, NVIDIA has their DLSS and I should have gone around the traffic circle. I'm going against traffic. Okay. Doesn't matter. I'll get back on my side of the road right here. Yeah, so, and then AMD just came out with their DLSS type stuff. I can't remember what it's called, but it doesn't really matter. But the point is that the future is this machine learning that they're doing. And what, for people that don't know, like DLSS can run at, it'll machine learn and upgrade your graphics, not through checkerboard rendering, which is what PlayStation tried to do, but basically the graphics processor or what will upsample things so you can run a game at 1080p and it'll upscale to 4K through the machine learning, which is kind of a big deal. And it's really going to allow these machines to push a much better image without using the horsepower that was needed originally. So again, to push 4K of worth of pixels and stuff used to take a lot of graphics power, but with this machine learning, it's going to be huge in the fact that they can make games really look good and not have to push the same type of stuff because the AI will figure out what it needs to be. Now, speaking about that, I'm not a big fan of racing against AI, but I think AI is also going to be the next big thing too. Now, I'm not talking about machine learning per se. What I'm talking about is the artificial intelligence that they're putting into games. I think this is where the future is going to be, because especially like RPGs where you are with other people, or NPCs that are controlled by the computer or AI. NPC is non-playable character. I think that they're going to really take advantage of the processing and the machine learning and the AI, and they're going to make people or NPCs as good as playing with somebody. I think what's going to happen is the games are going to start playing you. They're going to create NPCs that play on your emotions, and the game itself is going to start figuring you out. And again, if you take a game like Grand Theft Auto, when the last GTA 5 you played as Trevor, and I can't remember the other two guys. It doesn't really matter, but when you can play as a certain person and the computer has an AI companion and they can make that AI companion talk to you, a lot like you can talk to Google or you can talk to Amazon Alexa. You can ask it questions and it'll tell you the answer from the internet. But this will be different because this will get to know you and will be able to talk to you as if it knows you. It'll remember you, is what I'm getting at. I think this is the future of games. And the same thing, I want to bring this back to sim racing too. I think that if Forza Motorsport has the ability to let you get out and walk around your paddock area or your pit and talk to your crew chief or other drivers, and I think that again, they'll get to know you and they'll be able to respond to you in a certain way that is believable, like you're actually playing against a real person. So I think that the AI or the next growth area for games will be much more personalization. And again, the game will get to know you and be able to respond to you. That's just my thinking of where things are going. And again, it would be nice to, come into the pit stop and say, hey, my car is really loose on turn-in, and then the crew chief will make the adjustment for you. And you won't have to type anything in, you won't have to pick from, you'll just speak into your microphone and say, hey, I'm having this problem, and maybe the crew chief can set your car up the way you want it to be set up just through verbal communication. And again, I don't know if that's where they're going, but it sure would be cool. Alright, I think I've rambled on long enough. Again, machine learning is going to be huge. That's more important than frame rate and graphics. I think if you look at the Unreal Engine 5 stuff, I think that we're finally at graphics where they're photorealistic. I mean, there's even games now where people on the news and stuff have reported, that they thought something was real, even like racing games, and it was a game, not real life. So I think we're at the point where graphics are indistinguishable from reality, and I also think that we're at the point where I always want to drive on the right hand side of the road. I think we're also at the point where they've addressed the frame rate. Our monitors, our displays, our TVs are getting better, and we're getting higher frame rates, so that's no longer an issue. But anyway, I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. Machine learning is the future, and it's gonna change things drastically. Again, games will start playing you, and they'll start responding to you directly, and they'll remember you. So, yeah, things look good. It's a great time to be a sim racer, and it's a great time to be a gamer. I don't think it's a great time to be the CEO of Sony, because they're actually having a hard time. They may not say it, they may not look like it, but I think they are. I think they're really having a hard time competing with Microsoft, because, well, they shouldn't have poked the bear, in my opinion, back when they made all their little videos that were digging at Microsoft. Microsoft remembered all that. Same thing when they made that Tomb Raider was exclusive to Microsoft on the Xbox One, and they got backlash for it. Now you got Sony doing the same thing. Like, they sign all these exclusivity deals, and they don't get any backlash. But anyway, Microsoft, I think, remembered all that, and now they're starting to emerge. And just wait till 2022 when they come out with all their new games that are, just on the Xbox Series, and everyone will have the opportunity, or chance to buy the new Xbox, which is, why Sony went back on what they said about generations, because they had to go back on that because not everybody could get a PlayStation 5, so they were kind of screwed. So if you can't buy a PlayStation 5 and all you have is a PlayStation 4, well, you got to support where all your people own the, all your people are on PlayStation 4, and you're making PlayStation 5 games that they can't play. Well, that's a problem. Anyway, I think I've rambled on enough. I think Microsoft is in a good spot. I think PC gaming is in a good spot. I think sim racing is in a good spot. And yeah, the future is bright. Now, if we could just get our hands on a graphics card. Anyway, alright, thanks for watching.